Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal lazina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'al li wazira min ahli Haruna akhi ushdud bihi azri washku fi amri kay nusabbihaka kaseera wa nazkuraka kaseera innaka kunta bina basira wala hawla wala quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Welcome, dear friends. We are going to continue our discussion on the Ascension, taking the example from the prophetic Ascension and what we can learn from the prophetic Ascension to make it our own individual human ascension, inshallah. So we're going stage by stage, and last time we kind of went over some different traveling that can happen, how the ascension happens. And of course, one thing that we have to keep in mind was the ascension of the prophet. As we understand it, it was not the prophet himself who moved or traveled, but the owner, the Lord of the universe, who made the prophet travel. And the author gives example like every human being can travel with the speed of imagination. And then there is the journey of the saints with the speed of lightning, right? And then the angels and luminous bodies with the speed of spirit. I wasn't sure exactly last time because I was not really paying attention much, but the speed of spirit, what is the speed of spirit? If anybody can share their thoughts what that speed of spirit is, because the speed of lightning, you can measure that. It is very fast. Speed of imagination, you can't really tell because it's immediate. You can imagine many things as a human being. And I think the speed of spirit relates to how these are luminous creatures. So mostly like light is how I would see them. Luminous bodies, and then they circulate. And then it is also something very fast and instantaneous, which is the speed of related to the speed of spirit. So all these different means of traveling. And of course, the ascension, as the author kind of shared, was about how the whole body of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, went through that travel. So just like our whole body when we are driving a car or on a plane or on a train, any vehicle that we are on, the whole body, we just sit down and we travel. So that's how the whole body of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was placed by the owner, Lord of the universe, which is how we hear and then we can understand based on the author is sharing that, look, you human beings can also travel in your imagination, right, with that speed. So there are many different ascensions or traveling that can happen within the mind, within physically. So whoever creates the whole universe and gives existence to every being, individual, it shouldn't be it should be very easy for that being to even transfer. The one who gives life, who gives death, if we understand that, then yes, why not give the traveling of the whole body of an individual that he chose or he chooses to. So that's what I kind of took away a little bit from this whole traveling paragraph. So we will continue. Before I move on, was there any other thought process, anything that anyone wants to bring up? before we move to the next section here. All right, so I'll start with the paragraph. And since two governors directing the same matter spoils the order in that matter being spoiled. And since from a fly's wing to the lamps in the heavens there is perfect order, from a fly's wing to the lamps in the heavens, the stars, the sun, the moons can all be seen as lamps in the heavens, or the whole solar system. Everything shows a perfect order, which shows that they are all coming from one ruler, one maker, one order giver. There must be only one governor, one ruler. So the way the order is so perfect and balanced, it makes sense that definitely it points to the one owner, one ruler. For the art and wisdom in everything is so wonderful. So the qualities of the art that we see, the knowledge, wisdom that is present in each, the whole order, the way the solar system is working, the way the universe is functioning, right? The way the earth, the trees, the stars, the birds, animals, everything is so wonderful. It necessitates that the maker of one thing is powerful over all things. Necessitates that the maker of one thing is powerful over all things. So one little thing, one little insect, one ladybug exists within the context of the whole universe. Right? So that's how this one, the absoluteness or the oneness of how this paragraph is kind of building on, that the maker of one thing is powerful over all things, to the extent that he knows every matter. Since this is so, if he was not one, there would have to be gods to the number of beings. This is how the material sciences understanding kind of falls into, where they say everything kind of is functioning by itself when they say that, or it's natural to the thing. But if you start reasoning, thinking about it, can these things, do they have any sense? Do they have any will, power, knowledge to be able to do what they are doing in the universe? Then it's impossible that one would say that everything is kind of functioning by itself or is a god by itself. So this is how the argument this author is kind of building, that, hey, carefully observe the order in the universe, see the signs that you see, investigate them, question them, and see, could they be the source behind the results that we are observing, right? So it must be one. If he was not one, then everything else basically would be a god in their being. And these would be both opposed to and similar to one another. And it would therefore be 100,000 times impossible for this wonderful order not to be broken. So this order that we are living in, that we are observing, is there any crack or anything broken in it? We don't see that. So that order that we are observing points to the necessity of one owner, one ruler, one maker, so the absolute being. So this is how I took the paragraph to be, that this is on the oneness, unity of the absolute being by observing the universe, the order, seeing the qualities, pointing to the single owner. Right? I think the way this ascension kind of is building, basically, there was the whole description of the travel, and then one has to realize who is the one that makes that travel possible. So I'll continue unless anybody wants to make any comments on this paragraph. Any thoughts on this paragraph? Okay. Furthermore, since, as is self-evidently apparent, at a command, the classes of beings are in motion in a fashion 1,000 times more well-ordered than an army. Each group, from the stars, sun, and moon, and their motions to the flowers of the almond, displaying the decorations and uniforms the pre-eternal, all-powerful one has conferred on it, and the motion he has determined, 1,000 times more regularly and perfectly than an army. Since this is so, the universe has an absolute ruler. Behind the veil of the unseen, to whose command its beings look and conform. So no matter what goes on in our life, what we experience, we have to realize that, yes, the universe has an absolute ruler, an absolute owner who is bringing about all the experiences that I'm going through. I mean, we see that by observing the whole universe, the atmosphere, the stars, the moon, the sun, all the motions that are happening, the decorations of the flowers and different, all sorts of plants, vegetation, animals, insects, and the animals in the sea, fish, all sorts of different variety of creation out there, points to that absolute ruler.
Maybe this absolute ruler, so it's echoing, yeah, maybe this absolute ruler underlined, needs to be, I felt that needs to be extended to behind the veil of the unseen. That's why we come to that's why we arrived to at the conclusion that behind the veil of the sea, of the veil of the unseen, that is why we call it absolute. We are puzzled, in fact, how this universe can exist as it is now. We are puzzled, but if you understand that, oh, everything is so perfectly arranged, there must be something behind the veil of the unseen. This thing must be because behind the veil of the unseen, it means, although I don't see it in the universe, but the universe witnesses to him. That is why I concluded, that is my conclusion. And this conclusion is really believing in life. So we don't claim nothing more than a conclusion that we arrived necessitates an absolute being, and this absolute being cannot be in the nature of this universe or within the universe. So anything a piece within the universe, a piece. But all universe shouts out to the truth of its existence.
Thank you, Brother Ali, for adding that the veil of the unseen, behind the veil of the unseen. Yes, you're right. Okay. And since according to the
Excuse me.
testimony,
When we talk
yeah,
while we are thinking, not we are praying, while we are thinking, reflecting, and also talking to others about God, we have to definitely make sure, especially in this age, that uh, 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 God, when I talk about God, I am talking about a being who is behind the veil of the unseen. It means not of the nature of the universe. That is what I mean by God. If we don't explain it, they think that we are imagining some phantom. No, no. That is my absolute conclusion or the sure conclusion. There is no other way of explaining it. So we have to accompany this kind of qualifications next to God. Otherwise, talking about God only doesn't make sense to people. I mean, talking about God by using the word God only doesn't make sense to people and to our ego as well, nefis.
right. I mean, going through the signs and the veil, I mean, unseen also kind of has that connotation, right? There's some agent behind it, right? The unseen or the whole sign, somebody put those signs out there. The signs cannot be there. Like even the road signs, somebody placed them consciously over there. Right? So everything in the universe, the sun is placed consciously by the someone which we don't see. So behind the veil of the unseen already has that indication to me that must be some absolute ruler behind it. All right. Anyone thinks the same way or any thoughts on this? All right. But I understand your point, Brother Ali, what you're saying that we cannot talk in a vacuum or to just talk about God without really pointing out, going through the universe and then making that journey over to and that it must be an absolute a conclusion that we arrive at. And since according to the testimony of all the wise matters he carries out and splendid works he displays, the ruler or this ruler is an all-glorious sovereign. According to the testimony of all the wise matters he carries out. So whatever we see happening in the universe, the way that the functionings, the different activities are all carried out by this, which are veils behind the veil of the unseen. Splendid works that are displayed to us. Whoever is displaying them to us is an all glorious sovereign, is indicating his sovereignty over each and every being.
Yeah, because everything is wisely happening. So there is no way in the world that who doesn't really live in this world without believing in ghaib. Why? Because anything happens, we definitely ask this question. What is the actor behind it? Anything happens, especially the things happen wisely, and definitely human mind asks, what is the agent behind the veil of unseen, who must be a human being, conscious being, conscious being, if the act is wisely happening. And if you ask them, how did you know that? They will definitely say, look, it cannot happen by itself. Somebody must have done it. Even the simple thing, the chair was here, or I don't know, let's say a chair in this room, and I found this room, the chair moved to another room. I don't say what took it there. I say who took it, because the action is wise. But I found that, I don't know, for example, there is a dent in my car, parked car. I say who hit it, or I may say what hit it. Still, I look for any agent because of the sign in the event, the way it is happening. This is very human. But when it comes to studying the universe, they don't say who or what did it. They say the matter itself and another matter affected it, cause and effect. They say, yes, there is a cause, but effect is so wisely taking place. Is there any wisdom in the creation? They don't ask this. If there is an wise activity, or an activity which is wisely taking place, we look for a wise agent. Everybody. Yeah. So is wise matters, as you underlined it, requires a wise agent. You cannot say what did it. You have to say who did it. Materialists say what did it in a wisely existing thing. For example, let's say a plant comes out, they say what did it? And they look at the causes which are unconscious. But the plant cannot happen by an unconscious, the result of an unconscious actor, because plant's existence is full of wisdom, layer by layer, full of wisdom. But they say what did it, not who did it. This is their contradiction. Alhamdulillah. Now, Alhamdulillah, we have to take care of ourselves and make dua. Please Allah, give them wisdom, they deserve it. Otherwise, give them what they deserve. Allah says, I'm going to create an hell where people will suffer there permanently. We say, yeah, this person insulted the whole universe. Every angel is complaining about it. Every angel. We read this verse, angels said, are you going to create a human being who is going to kill? We said kill means turning the thing in that body. Yeah, they may kill a human being, they may kill animals, plants, but what they do, the deniers do, they kill the whole universe and the angel of the whole universe. It means angelic side of the whole universe. This is why angelic side of the universe, which are represented in the Quran as angels, angels say there, are you going to kill a man with a potentials to kill us? Do you see what I mean? By denying, insult us. It's a beautiful, beautiful verse. The more I think, the deeper I think about it, it has many layers of meaning, mashallah. So they said, are you going to create somebody who may, with the ability to kill us? Like this. Read it, this verse in this way. Beautiful, mashallah. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that. You're right. Ajbeza, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for sharing your reflections. I was thinking about this conversation that I had / listened to recently, and it was about how, you know, in the practical world, whatever line of work you do, the issue of copyright is very important. In films, in visual imagery, in even concepts, in the academic world, even thoughts, right? You have to cite even a thought somebody had, and if you don't, it's plagiarism. So when it comes to the physical manifest world that I find myself existing in, it's always very interesting how quickly I find I take ownership over these things and I kill those angels, as Brother Lee was saying. And in doing so, I think, of course, perhaps the first angel or the first sort of insult or injustice that I'm doing is to myself, and then by virtue of that, also to the rest of creation. But I guess, like in the like, why is it that I do this, or why do I find um and inshallah catch myself doing that so I don't do it again, or why is it that I witness other people doing this and witness myself in the process as well? And I think there's inherently this, like, why do people plagiarize? I guess is another kind of metaphorical or metaphor we could draw from this. And I think it's because there is this, I find myself in an intense, immense, endless state of need. And because I cannot, I want to hide it. I don't want to make it obvious to other people. And maybe I don't even want to make it obvious to myself, because I know that in reality, I don't have the power to, attain power or wealth or success or health or youth or life or health for myself. Then I attribute these qualities to themselves, and therefore I attribute it to myself. Um, and I think, to go from the state of this is mine to this is not mine is is one where my self identity can be suspended. Because then I'm like, then who am I? And I think because of this issue there, then sometimes that, of course, I'm saying for those who are, um, you know, genuinely making that search, not for those who are intentionally, willingly, continuously plagiarizing. Um, uh, and so, because I think there's to be a distinction to be made there. But of course, inshallah, like within the as I attribute that thought to the author in my academic paper, right? Then I feel relief. I'm like, this is not mine. And nobody can blame me on of anything. And I stand with the strength of that author's argument for that particular thing, and everything that author or that speaker or that person has said or researched or discovered or whatever so far. So it gives me a sense of security in being able to rely on them. And I think um, when I look at the world through that lens as well, then not killing the angelic aspect of things that that bring me the message that, hey, you're not here by yourself, and don't worry, you're still secure. You don't have to find that sense of security within yourself. Um, is therefore then necessary um um in my I guess quest for existential security, but also in the process of inshallah seeing the, as the text says, the absolute ruler behind the veil of the unseen, that commands over everything. So I'm never truly ever suspended, like in thin air or without any sort of foundation for which I can draw strength from.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Yes, indeed. So this killing of the meaning translates to many other things, corruption and plagiarism, as you shared, seeing the world, taking ownership. Yeah, so we need
Especially
to,
the photographs. When I want to take this Google photograph, copy paste the photographs published or published in Google, I found that there are lots of good photographs, and they don't let you copy paste it. You have to pay for it, except it must acknowledge their copyright. The content of the photograph is already existing out there. They didn't create it. One. The second, only the way they took the photograph, this is an art, they say. And you have to acknowledge the right copyright for my art. But just the way they took it, look. And this person, these people may not, may not, if um, they don't accept the creator of what they are taking the photograph of, they really deserve the hell. Why? You are just utilizing and
plagiarizing.
plagiarizing. So thank you. Plagiarizing God's art in an artful way and asking for price for it. You said the contradiction. Plagiarizing God's art in an artful way, then you ask for copyright payment, but you yourself don't pay the real creator of the art if they don't believe in it. Really, they deserve the hell. They don't see the self-contradiction. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like all the patents that they do about from the order of the universe, like the drug companies, they patent their medicines or formulas. They all fall in the same category. Thank you for sharing all that. Right. Where was I? Yeah. And since according to the bounties he demonstrates, he is a most compassionate sustainer, and according to the beautiful examples of his art, which he exhibits, he is a maker who loves his art. So, the maker who loves his art, and since he is an all-wise creator who wishes to attract, so he wishes to attract to his works of art the admiring gazes of conscious beings through the adornments and skills he demonstrates. And since it may be understood that he wishes to make known to conscious beings He wishes to make known to conscious beings the meaning of the adornments, what they mean, the meaning of the adornments, which astound the mind, that he displays in the creation of the world, and to inform them through the wisdom of his dominicality about where creatures come from and where they are going. Where they come from and where they are going. Alhamdulillah for belief. We understand where we come from and where we are going. Yeah, but in the secular age, it is kind of not thought about, not paid attention to. Most certainly, this all-wise ruler and all-knowing maker wishes to demonstrate his dominicality. Anything anybody would like to highlight here? We spoke about the universe being a wise creation, all the works and artful work that we are witnessing catches our attention, makes us question, right? We admire them and then we wonder where are they coming from? All this art, all this beauty, all these qualities that I am experiencing, that I'm enjoying. So he who loves his art, so anybody who expresses his abilities loves to do it. But here, all of the art that I'm experiencing is out of love for me. I have to take it for myself, that I love those beautiful things, all that art that is there, so it's catching my attention. Shpesa, go ahead.
One other thing that came to my mind as I was listening to it, another aspect perhaps is, um, I don't know if any of you have ever been to like an aquarium, let's say a large one, or at least let me speak on my own behalf. I went to an aquarium once and it was a large one. And for some reason my goal was to try to look at everything. And by the time I finished looking at everything, I was very tired, and the amount of energy and reflection that I could give a particular fish or animal was very minimal. I was like, oh, very nice. By the time I was done, oh, very nice. Um, and when I look at the aquarium of my life, it's never like that, subhanallah. Like there's always something, like even in my day-to-day life, I might just stub my toe on the door when I walk. It's something that attracts my attention, and it's something worth um for me to dwell over, and I don't necessarily get bored of it. If you ask me like, how did you spend your day today? So details that might be mundane to everybody else might be interesting to me because they're happening to me and I'm at the center of those events. So I think, when it says he's a maker who loves his art, um, and since he is an all wise creator who wishes to attract to his works of art and the admiring gazes of conscious beings through the adornments and skills he demonstrates, part of that art is also the art of the events of my day, like the mundane events of my life, which I find myself in a state of interest with. And I think that in itself also reflects the quality of my creator also wanting me to love the message or the angelic side of those experiences that are being presented to me through something as mundane as stubbing my toe, or very mundane day to what I would otherwise consider mundane, but that are still interesting to me because they just happen to me. Um, like day-to-day events, which I think is again another sort of like mercy that is being presented to me, because it allows me to, I can't reflect on something that's not of interest for me, but things that happen to me are of interest to me. So it allows, that's another sort of opportunity for me to take a hold of, and that's something outside of, like, I don't necessarily choose to be interested in something or not interested, so it's something that's also being given to me.
Good point. Thank you. Yeah. So we have to pay attention to what we are going through, different details that we are experiencing. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So going through those experiences and connecting them to who is presenting them and where are they coming from. Yeah. And also keep in mind where we come from and where are we going. That's something also powerful in terms of realizing what our purpose here is. Any other thoughts, comments? Anybody else wants to say anything? All right. It was beautiful. Let's continue. And since he wishes to make himself known and loved by conscious creatures through the great many works of benevolence and mercy and wonders of art. The art is being brought many times here. All the works of benevolence and mercy and wonders of art he displays. He will surely make known to them by means of a herald. Oh, I see where it's going. With all the things that are being displayed, he will surely make known to the human beings, conscious beings, by means of a herald, what he desires of them, and what those things are that please him and concern them. So there must be someone who would relate to me what he wants from me, out of me. Why am I here? So someone I can follow, I can understand from in a human form, a human being who can teach me, who can tell me, share with me what I'm here for, what my purpose is. Because, of course, out of all that display of art, all the wonders, everything that I am going through, experiencing, as H. Beza was talking about, our experiences, although they may seem simple, but very meaningful in many different senses to the individual who is experiencing them. So there must be a herald, necessity of a herald. Since this is so, he will appoint one of the conscious beings. Okay, before I go through this paragraph, there's a comment from Fariha. We are mostly good with noticing details. If only we can put that effort to communicate with the angelic side of creation, to be in connection with its creator. That is absolutely correct. That's what all the gossiping magazines are full of. They are mentioning all those details that they are going through, but they never would jump or would travel to or make the ascension through the meaningful side, what they are communicating, and go to the establish that connection with the creator. Thank you for pointing that out. So since this is so, the creator or the one who is displaying his art. Oh, before I go there, Brother Ali's hand is up. Please go ahead, brother.
No, this last paragraph we read reminded me 2 points. One is he wishes to make himself known and loved. of course, we are very quick in comparing the creator, the absolute being, to ourselves, because it is to a to a certain extent, it is a justified action that we do, because we know God through our feelings, what He gave us, and we cannot do it in another way. That is correct. But likening God to me as a created being is the mistake that we make, or I make. So I say, oh, God wishes to make himself known and loved, or does he need it? Now, it's a question raised up, why does need especially? Because those people who don't want to worship, acknowledge and worship God, they say, does God need our worship? Oh, if he needs to be begged by us, well, come on. That's what the general criticism raised by those people who don't want to admit their reality. Anyways, that is their problem. Let's come here. How do we know that God is powerful? I ask myself, look at the universe. It needs an absolute power. So the one who created God behind the veil of hype must be absolute. So must be absolutely powerful. Is it a legitimate conclusion? My reason says yes, must be so, must be so. Not because I saw it, that is why I say behind the veil of hype, unseen. Now, how do we know that God wishes? Well, look at the universe. Again, exactly the same way. My conclusion from the way the universe is created in an admirable art, perfect balance, incredible pair, creation. Now, everything is created, the design really always completing the pattern together from both sides. Look at the leaf, a leaf of a tree, you will say that right side of the leaf and the left side of the leaf, exactly the same pattern, completing each other. So making a beautiful appearance. If it is an accidental coloring, then why should be both sides similar? Why? Well, just to disguise themselves from their predators, or how is it pronounced? Animal
Predators.
predators. For their predators to hide themselves. Does it have to be similar and parallel and complementing each other, completing each other? No. Just like this. And it's kind of color that they can disguise themselves. But do they have sure consciousness? That is another question. They don't. But people make up stories. So we understand that this artful creation, or in the creation, art is manifesting. We say the one who is performing it must mean something, introducing his intention, introducing his, making it beautiful. We like it, we love it. We love the beautiful art. We pay lots of money just because the material, whatever it is, even the cloth, is an artful production. We just pay for the art. for the art. We pay for the art, not the matter only. Matter is $1. Art costs us $20 and artfully made it. So we know that the one who did it made everything in an artful way, we conclude that he wants to be admired, he wants to be loved, because I understood from the creation, not because God says, look, you should love me. No, what's my conclusion? Like, it was my conclusion that the creator of the universe must be all-powerful one. It is my conclusion again. The creator of this world asks from me to love him because he is presenting in a lovely way, lovable way. Now, this is only valid for conscious beings. Now, conscious beings, definitely, we think, we reason intellectually and come to a conclusion, and we are aware of the beauty of the universe. So, at least I am a conscious being, as far as I am concerned. So, he wants from me to acknowledge him as the all-powerful one and the all-knowing, all-wise ruler, all-knowing maker, all-wise creator, glorious sovereign. Well, lots of names are mentioned here, the names of God. I am the addressee of the creator, introducing his qualities to me as a conscious being. I concluded, that is my conclusion, that God wishes to demonstrate that he loves me in a way that he expects me to love him back. Right? That is what being consciousness is very important.
So I don't really need to think about that. He needs to do it, basically. That way.
Yeah, consciousness, we are consciousness. We shouldn't forget that. We are conscious beings.
Inshallah. Thank you, brother Ali. So let's prepare our mind for this with the next paragraph. Since this is so, that all this universe that displays its art is for conscious creatures. Basically, as Brother Ali was mentioning, conscious creatures who pay attention to it, can realize this. He will appoint one of the conscious beings again, and will proclaim his dominicality. Who will proclaim? Through him, and will proclaim his dominicality through him. Okay. So he'll appoint one of the conscious beings and will proclaim his dominicality through him. He will honor a herald with the proximity of his presence and make him the means of exhibiting. Honor a herald with the proximity of his presence. Honor a herald with the proximity of his presence and make him the means of exhibiting the art which he loves. So he will appoint one of them as a teacher in order to inform other conscious beings of those exalted aims and to display his perfections. He will certainly appoint a guide so that the talisman contained in the universe and the riddle of dominicality he has concealed within beings will not remain meaningless. So that the talisman contained in the universe and the riddle of the dominicality he has concealed within beings will not remain meaningless. So all the meaningful aspect of everything in the universe, the qualities that they point, the qualities what the qualities point to. And he will appoint a guide who will teach the purposes contained in the beauties of art he displays and publishes as a spectacle parade for all to gaze on, so that they do not remain useless and vain. So this guide will teach the purpose contained in all the beauties of art, displays and publishes a spectacle for all to gaze, so they don't remain worthless, meaningless, mundane, vain. Moreover, in order to announce the things that please him to conscious beings, he will raise one of them to a rank up above the others. So he will raise, right? So it's not the person himself will raise, but he will raise one of them to a rank above the others and will inform him of those things and send him to them. So he will appoint someone, whoever is displaying all this marvelous art, these things in the universe, will definitely must appoint someone, a herald, who will be well in closeness, proximity to his presence, well, very conscious of his presence. So conscious beings can connect with, he will teach conscious beings to connect with their Lord in this way. Any thoughts? Few minutes left.
Here, the word, he says he will honor God, he capital H, will honor a herald with the proximity of his presence. What do we understand from really bringing him to his proximity? What we have to understand that
would it be the consciousness, his whatever he is engaging with is always directly connected to his Lord? He has that awareness in him.
well, he will do it. It means God himself will enable him. He will raise one of them to a rank above all the others. So he has, and he will appoint a guide. Oh, but look, Muhammad didn't appoint himself, alayhi salatu wasalam. He will appoint it. He will raise him. He will honor him. He will bring him to his proximity. That is very important, although we keep emphasizing or the importance of saying that there's ascension. Of course, we are reading the section about ascension, so it must be related to ascension. So he will appoint. Lots of, all of them are taken care of by the Creator, not by Muhammad himself. That is why people reduce this event as if it is performed by Muhammad والسلام, himself. They say it is impossible. Of course, for him alone is impossible. But because the creator of the universe with his absolute power takes him to his presence, it means demonstrates to him all the artful creation to him, educates him, and prepares him, trains him as to be a teacher. That's very important. Teacher, and sends or appoints him among the people and employs him, appoints him. Yeah, that is appointment. Appoints him, not because he himself deserved, but because he prepared to this position so that he will deserve it. He will deserve it. But he is the agent. God is the agent, not Muhammad is the agent. But he is ready to be appointed to this post, to this post or duty of being a teacher. This is interesting. We have to understand that everything is really created in such a way that from the way they are created, we understand through the message of the Creator, we receive from this through the Prophet Muhammad, we understand that he was educated, he was taught by the Creator of the universe because he discloses all the secrets manifests in the universe. His secret, God's secret. Secrets. It means not apparently seen in the universe, but in the form of manifestation. We should always keep in mind that when we talk about the creator of the universe, absoluteness, or whatever the title we use, power, wisdom, we have to remember that it is our conclusion from the witnessing of the universe, which is also presented to us through his speech, again, through his speech, by bringing the witness from the creation. This connection should never be ignored, even while we are understanding the Quran. We have to keep this awareness in our mind. Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you all. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we'll continue next time from the next paragraph. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana. Innaka anta al-alim al-hakim wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati surat al-Fatiha.